Self-confidence. A lack of it affects so many people, and it can become a painfully difficult lifelong struggle. It stops us living as our most authentic selves and even from reaching for our dreams. This creates huge internal fighting. We lose faith in ourselves, and in turn, the frustration can lead to unhealthy behaviours.
Confidence isn't something we are born with or that we wake up with one day. It's cultivated over time, and it's essential we learn how to so we can live a happy, healthy, fulfilled life. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all out there?
Oh, today we're going to be talking about self-confidence, aren't we, Claire?
We are, and this was off the back of a post that I did a little while ago on my Facebook page, and I came across, we're going to go into this a little bit more, but I came across some videos that I was trying to record back in 2018, and I'm not kidding you. The reel, you know when you're scrolling through your photos and your videos, the reel went on forever and ever and ever of like 2-second and 3-second glimpses of me trying to record it and then stopping. And it just made me realise like how much I've grown in confidence of doing these videos and how painful, how utterly painful it was when I was trying to record those videos, locked in a room for hours and hours and hours, and then coming out really angry and really cross.
I remember it well.
I know, poor James, really angry and really cross. And it just got me thinking about self-confidence, and we thought that we would do a podcast on it because the response to my post was so lovely. What else have we been up to, though?
Well, before we get to that, it was somebody's birthday.
It
In
was.
fact, two birthdays. It was my birthday, of course, last week, and we had a gorgeous time. We went out to an amazing restaurant in Marbella, Old Town, where we couldn't decide between pizza and pasta, so we had both.
Why not?
Why not? It was delicious. And then, of course, it was Lola Pops' birthday as well on Saturday.
If no one knows who Lola Pops is, and this is the first one you're listening to, that's our dog, our Pomeranian Fluffball. So it was Lola's birthday as well. She had a lovely day.
It was. Then we've been recording more podcasts as guests. We've done some of those, which has been always love doing those. And some of the ones we've been on have actually come out. We've been on Ben Webb's Better Brain podcast is out. We're on the Hot Mess Mums podcast.
With Jenny Powell and Kelly. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
great.
Exciting. So that's just come out recently. So go and have a listen to that. The Hot Mess Mums. What else have we been up to?
Oh, I know, just like making plans. I think slowly making plans. It's time of year when we like to like actually hunker down a bit, but think about where we want to go next year. So gently at the moment, just to kind of forming ideas, but there's going to be some great stuff coming from us.
I know what else. I've got my Spanish residency. Don't know whether I mentioned that. That was good. That was awesome to get that, and that's only because of you, because you got yours 10 years ago. But I think that's about it. So shall we get on with talking about confidence? And one of the things I want to say on this as well, since we're coming to you via our podcast, it wasn't always this way, where we would just get on and just freewheel it. I mean, there was a time, wasn't there, poor James again, where I would meticulously plan word by word every single podcast. Go back and listen to the first few if you haven't listened to them. You probably won't necessarily realise the pain that went behind them for both of us. But, obviously when you're first starting out with doing anything, of course you're not going to have very much confidence. And one of the main things that we want you to take out of this is that, confidence isn't something that just arrives. You don't just wake up one morning and go, oh, I'm confident. Confidence, sadly and annoyingly, is something that's cultivated over time. The more you do something, the more confident you become at it. So just wanted to caveat that, since we're on a podcast. And when we started this in May 2019, we were less than confident.
Wow, that feels like a long time ago now, doesn't it?
Well, it was another world ago, wasn't it?
Another world ago.
So So let's crack on. So what we wanted to first of all do is kind of define what confidence is and what the difference is between self-confidence and something like self-efficacy and self-esteem, because they get interchanged and they get confused, but they are subtly different.
Yeah, so self-efficacy is when we actually can see ourselves mastering a skill and achieving a goal. Self-esteem is just more of a kind of general sense that we can cope with what's going on in our lives, that we have a right to be happy, a right to be worthy. And self-esteem comes in part from feeling that the people around us approve of us as well. So it's slightly more externally focused, I'd say, self-esteem. I saw a great quote from Henry Cavill, actually, Superman and The Witcher, about always focus on your character, not your reputation, because reputation is only what other people think of you. Character is about your
Did you see that on Facebook?
I don't go on Facebook.
Because I saw that one this morning.
It's while I was chatting to Henry, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in a scroll hole at all, do you, James, on Facebook?
But I think that's a really useful one. Difference, like, so you can define character is around like your confidence and self-confidence, and reputation is more around self-esteem. It's like you're looking for the outside approval, and of course, looking externally does play a role in your self-confidence as well. That's something we're going to touch on at the end. Of course, we're going to give you a load of tips to help build your confidence. We're going to cover that externally looking, and particularly comparison, but self-confidence is vital in almost every aspect of our lives, yet a lot of us struggle to find it. And there's a paradox. We might be really confident in one area or one particular thing, but then we're not so confident in another, or completely like lacking confidence in another area. And it can become a bit of a vicious cycle. And you'll have observed it yourself. When we lack confidence, we actually then lack the courage to take risks, to take chances, to start new things, which means that we can be missing out on achieving the success that would in turn give us that confidence to allow us to go for more. So, take an example, you might not be inclined to back a project that's pitched by someone who's visibly nervous, fumbling, constantly apologising. You always think of Dragon's Den. I don't know if you ever watched it, the fast show version of Dragon's Den, where they're just like sweat pouring off them as they pitch.
To be honest, that would be my worst nightmare, going into the Dragon's Den. I really, we all have our strengths, right? Like James just said, we have our areas that we're confident in, but that would be my absolute worst nightmare.
Go on Dragon's Den Club.
I would be sweating.
I'm going to invent something.
I would look like I'd have just done a 20-minute hard hit session when I walked into the Dragon's Den.
But if you compare that to someone that comes on, speaks really clearly, holds their head high, is just assured, knows their stuff clearly, it just inspires a lot more confidence in them. So confidence is really important because it enables us to actually grow. If we're lacking confidence, the chances are we're going to be lacking the ability to take those new steps to move in a new direction. And here's the thing, before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, when we're looking at a new skill, something new area or a new goal, it can be very easy to talk ourselves out of it by thinking, I just don't have what it takes. I don't want to appear as a novice in that area. So back to, when I retook up boxing after like a 20 plus year layoff, it was very nerve wracking. So you're like, in what I do now, I like to think I'm reasonably good at it. But this is a new thing right outside my comfort zone. But the thing is, unless I had the confidence to take that first little step and be like actually in a place where I'm completely unconfident because I know I don't have the skills, my awareness is I don't have the skills for this, but learning them is going to bring me that confidence. And here's the thing as well, when we get confident in one area, it spills out into others. So it's about realising when you're going to take that first step, not necessarily having the confidence to do it, but just finding it, knowing that the confidence will come once you've taken it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just relate it to what I was saying right at the beginning of the podcast with me going and doing those videos. Now, I think I'm similar to many people where public speaking and doing videos can be really, really unsettling. I mean, not many people have that natural confidence. So I think I just realised that the frustration, the anger, and the fight within myself was actually too high a price to pay. So just acting and moving through that fear and that lack of confidence is what actually has got me to this point now. It hasn't, like I already said, it doesn't just come. That confidence is cultivated over time. But I knew the downfall of me not expressing myself fully, not being fully my authentic self, was actually going to be worse than the fear of what other people thought or whether I watched it back and hated it. So just moving through it and knowing what the goodies are at the end, knowing that at the end, once you have garnered the confidence, it's going to be amazing. And that's what I'm experiencing now when I just go on podcasts or videos or whatever and do oh my goodness, like workshops to thousands of people, it's only the result of those first few steps that I was taking years and years ago where I just pushed through the lack of confidence. So why don't we go on to some key points about why confidence is really important?
Well, first up there, it will help you live a fulfilling life, because when you've got confidence, as we've just been talking about there, you'll be able to actually grow and take those steps to enable your growth, and that in turn will help you build more confidence.
Exactly. And the next one is confidence is important because it gives you that sense of freedom to express your authentic self.
If you don't do it, then you're going to get resentment building up, and you find that you're fighting with yourself forever.
It's a horrible
and,
feeling.
Talking yourself out of it. So, you don't want that. Resentment's a horrible thing to be holding on to.
Absolutely. And then that in turn can lead to some really unhealthy behaviours, because there's this stuck energy inside you. I can't tell you how much I know this feeling. There's that stuck energy inside you, and it leads to kind of bitterness, anger, unhealthy behaviours that you might not be presenting if you just let yourself go and move and act.
You'll stop the fear of judgment from others. And this is a big one. What we need to remember is people are going to judge you anyway.
Totally.
No matter what you do or don't do. It's just a human characteristic that we make snap judgments about people. So stop fearing the judgment and be prepared to step into your power.
One thing I would say on that is actually stop catastrophizing what other people are thinking. A lot of the time we think people are thinking worse things about us than they actually are, and most of the people are just too busy getting on with their own lives, to be honest, to really worry about what everyone else is doing. It also reduces self-doubt. So confidence reduces that feeling of self-doubt and the questioning yourself all the time.
It helps you value your own opinions and beliefs. You get prepared to back yourself.
It creates less anxiety within you, and also it helps you go outside your comfort zone. So when you have a bit more confidence, you tend not to turn away from opportunities and circumstances that would push you outside your boundaries. So there's less anxiety generally, and less anxiety of going outside your comfort zone when you have more confidence.
Yeah, and when you've got more confidence, you'll be prepared to take more action and take more risk. And here's the thing, we want to be in growth. We don't want to back away from the experiences. Remember back to that podcast we did with Ben on neuroscience, our brains are effectively shrinking. And one way we can actually offset that is by learning new skills and having new experiences.
You'll also be confident people are just happier people, and they make better decisions as well. And one of the final things we want to say here are, it's not just about you. There are people out there in this world that need to experience your gifts that only you can express to the world. I truly, truly believe that we all come with a story to tell and our own unique purpose. And there are people out there that need your experience, need your gifts. They need you to be seen, heard, and to be inspired by you.
So it's really important. We've said it already, but just, confidence doesn't arrive. It just doesn't turn up one day. If you're sitting there waiting for, when I've got the confidence to do this, I'll do it. You'll be waiting a really, really long time. It's about taking those small steps, like actually having the confidence to take the small steps, so that builds confidence for the bigger steps and progress over time.
So let's go into our kind of 11 tips to building.
Oh, 11.
11, I know. It's a really annoying number. I tried to keep it at 10.
Surely we should have 12, Claire. You should have had the confidence to go for a 12th tip.
I'm going to tag one on at the end. I'm going to be confident by just going with the flow on this podcast and making one up at the end. So we have got 11 tips. There might be a 12th. One of the things that we would say that really helps us, and this is all from our own personal experience and working with so many other midlifers, we have to do this ourselves all the time, but building confidence in other areas. So if you've got something that you don't feel very confident in, actually doing something else that will build confidence within you is a really, really good way of starting to build confidence for the next thing. So, for example, if you don't have very much confidence doing public speaking, or haven't got much confidence writing a book, perhaps learning a new language, talking about our podcast from last week with Ben, but learning a new language really, really helps build confidence and self-esteem and self-worth as well. But learning to do something else not just kind of obsessing and focusing on the thing you don't have confidence for, but building it in other areas will massively help just confidence overall.
Yeah, absolutely that. Stop comparing.
This is massive.
This is massive. And of course, we'll bang on about this endlessly, but social media does not help, but just don't believe everything you scroll through.
Yeah, absolutely. If you sit there comparing yourself to all these other people, of course, anyone's confidence is gonna be a bit shattered, because there's always going to be someone out there in the world that has more confidence doing the thing that you want to do than you do right now. They had to start off from somewhere. They weren't always like that, and don't always believe that they are really confident. This is probably the person that sits obsessively looking through their videos or whatever content they put out. If we're talking about social media, we don't know what their story is. They've just got good at pushing through the fear and doing it anyway, which is one of the points.
It's the next point, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, well introduced. Stop worrying so much about what others think. So it's not an excuse to go out and be an idiot, but don't worry so much about what other people think. Today's news is tomorrow's newspaper for fish and chips. I think it was a saying, something like that. So just crack on.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, my one, perfectionism. Did a whole podcast on this because my name's Claire and I'm a recovering perfectionist. Stop trying to be perfect. So this is the thing that got me doing the podcast, got me doing videos. I am not naturally confident on this stuff. I really, really am not. I might come across like that, but it's learned behaviour. I've learned to come across as more confident because, as we do more things, you naturally become more confident in it. But one of the hugest things for me was stop trying to be perfect and understanding that good now is better than perfect tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes, because every time you don't do it, you're building more self-doubt, a lack of self-trust each and every time. So just getting it out there that's less than perfect is better than perfect.
Review your past achievements. Remind yourself of the times when you did take a risk and it paid off, when you did go for that goal and you achieved it. We're very, very good. It's part of our evolutionary survival mechanism, right? Remembering when things went wrong, because it keeps us safe. It stops us taking those risks. But actually remember the times you got it right and it worked out for you.
Set confidence boosting goals. So, we would encourage you to maybe start off a little bit smaller. If you're really lacking in confidence, just generally, start off with some smaller goals, but then do understand that really the bigger goals are the ones that are going to give you the biggest boost in confidence once you've done them. So do try and set yourself some little ones, but also set yourself a really big confidence boosting goal that when you've done it, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm almost like a completely different person now. I'm a new person. What's next? You're excited for what's next because it's giving you that much confidence.
Gain self-trust by facing your fears head on. This is one people sometimes get a bit confused with. This is not about trying to eliminate fear. A little bit of fear is very, very healthy, actually. It's about acknowledging that you do have fear, but moving forward anyway. Yeah,
absolutely. It's so, so important. And stop procrastinating. This is number 8. Stop procrastinating. Stop overthinking it as well. Again, it kind of goes back to that whole what are other people thinking, but we're over catastrophizing what's going to happen. And it just makes us stop dead in our tracks, overthinking it, and then it leads to procrastination, and then we're on this flywheel, this constant flywheel of feeling like we want to go but keep pulling ourselves back. It's like, I want to go but I keep pulling myself back each time, and that's just procrastination because you're overthinking it.
Here's one. This is huge, and we're always coaching our client through. Think about the opportunity cost. What is it costing you not doing this thing? Not only what are you not gaining, what are you losing? What experiences are you losing out on? Make your expression on earth the most important thing. It's so easy to talk yourself out of stuff, but think about what you're losing by staying where you are.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest. I think honestly that was the biggest thing for me. I'll say that till the cows come home. It was me not being able to, me thinking, what's the impact on my relationships? With me being this frustrated, angry, and resentful for not fully expressing myself in the world. What is the impact on my health? I'm starting to feel ill because there's something that I want to say, but I'm not letting myself say it because I'm waiting for confidence to exist, which never happens. So that was a really big thing for me, thinking, what will I feel like when my time has run out and I haven't done the things, waiting for myself to feel confident, and I haven't done the things that were mine to express, my story to be told, my song to be sung. The next one is, this is so key to what we teach as well, self-care, right? Self-care breeds confidence. If you're not looking after yourself, sleep-wise, nutrition-wise, exercise-wise, even like meditation and things like that, if you're not looking after yourself, you're not going to feel as confident out there in the world. This is just, this is so much, again, this is personal experience. When I was going through my divorce, and I was on antidepressants, you know, the main thing that got me into doing what I do now is I wanted to get my confidence back. And the thing that got me my confidence back was looking after my nutrition and looking after my body. So like exercising and lifting and all that sort of stuff. And so many studies have shown that physical activity boosts confidence. When your body image improves, you feel more confident. So looking after yourself is so key.
I also say, you know, that spills over to like definitely exercise and look after your body, but it's like start to love what you see in the mirror, right? So also check in with like how you're dressing in the mornings. Like if you're working from home, we work with corporates as well, and we're like, you know, if you've got like maybe a polo shirt on, but you're sitting in your boxer shorts because you're only on a Zoom call, you know, how are you actually performing compared to if you were in an office in a suit? Probably not as well. It sounds crazy, but like how we actually show up physically does make a difference as well.
That is number 12, mister. Woo. But I think we're going to, but that's going to be number 11. I love that. Because actually that is really, really important. How we project ourselves out in the world makes us feel more confident. So think about, you know, I don't want you to lack compassion with yourself here, but do have a think about how you're holding your body language, how you're holding yourself, the energy that you're expressing. And actually, I don't really agree with this phrase, but fake it till you make it does come in here a little bit. You know, for women, if it makes you feel good, doing your hair, putting a bit of makeup on, not wearing your pajamas around the house when you're on Zoom, all these sorts of things will help you build confidence in certain circumstances. There we go,
that's
you did
tip
it.
11, so we've got a tip 12 coming out. I must change out of these Speedos. Tip 12.
You definitely must change out of these Speedos.
Positive self-talk. You know, do speech, have that internal dialogue. Big yourself up. Do affirmations. That stuff really, really works. We're building new neural pathways when we do it. Positive self-talk is a massive one.
Yeah, saying, I don't have the confidence to do this. Well, that's a story you're telling yourself. And we can change the stories. We know from the podcast last week that we have something called neuroplasticity, where we can change the neurons in our brain structure to be more successful, to feel the way that we want to feel. So just be really, really conscious and curious about that internal dialogue you've got, and switch it around as someone that is more confident would speak. So instead of, I haven't got the confidence to stand up on stage, it's like, I'm learning how to become more and more confident getting up on stage. I know these other people weren't confident at some stage, and they used to be where I am, but now I am learning how to do the same, and it's easy. It's getting easier every day.
It's reminding me of when one of our corporate clients, about 3 years ago, was it? Mm-hmm. And they asked us to host a fitness festival for them. So we're up on the main stage with like little mics and stuff like that. Yes.
Well, the other one that we did recently to 1,000 people, it was on Zoom.
1,000 people plus.
1,000 people plus, and it was on Zoom. But if you can see the counter going up, you know, it's. I think it's healthy to have that level. I was saying to a client yesterday, actually, on a coaching call, there's a healthy level between, you know, excited anxiousness and total fear and lack of confidence. And actually, if you can talking about positive self-talk, if you can talk yourself around that and say, actually, this stuff that I'm feeling in my body isn't a lack of confidence and a feeling of fear, it's actually a bit of excitement about once I come off that stage or once I've done that thing, how I'm going to feel. So there we are. And I've just got a little nugget of a message for you that I'm actually going to read from the post that I wrote that's kind of inspired this podcast. Okay, friends, this is my message. This is our message to you. Your light needs to come out. It can't be stifled. If you keep yourself locked away because of a lack of confidence, it'll lead to anger, bitterness, resentment, and even illness. Confidence, again, we'll say this again, confidence doesn't arrive one day. It's cultivated bit by bit, piece by piece over time. So just get out there and take action now. Of course, it's scary, but the alternative is far more terrifying. Your unique story will never be told. Others won't experience your talents, your gifts, your light, and you'll be left wondering. So we urge you to focus less on what others think, less on perfection, and live more living from your heart.
Beautiful words.
So that's our little message to finish off this confidence podcast. And we really hope that you've found that useful, and also listening to our own personal stories. There's lots of things to say again. There's lots and lots of areas that we're not hugely confident in, but knowing that confidence only comes through action and doing the little things over time really does help. And because we've worked through these things where we don't have confidence in the past, like for example me doing videos and stuff, I now have more trust in myself and more self-belief. So it comes with time, friends. Don't forget that.
Yeah, you deserve it.
You do deserve it, absolutely. So if you've liked this podcast, please do share. Please do review as well. And we're always here to answer any of your questions. If you've got any suggestions for podcast topics, we would love to hear them. Please, please, please send them across. It's team, so send them by email. It's team@themidlifementors.com, and we'd love to hear even your stories, your experience around confidence, how you've moved through it, how you're experiencing it.
And do give us a follow on Instagram as well, because we've really upped our Instagram game. Claire's doing an amazing job on there. There's all kinds of fun little reels and things that I don't really understand. I just get put in front of the camera like a performing monkey.
You are a performing monkey.
It's Instagram.com/Midlife Mentors, all one word.
We're just Midlife Mentors on Instagram. But talking of confidence, I'm doing reels now, and I avoided that. How long have they been around? Like ever. So it's another point. I'm like, I know I need to do it. Once I get going on it, I'll build confidence. But if you go on that Instagram account, you can see someone that's not confident on Instagram reels, but might come across as they are. So there's me being vulnerable and real.
Love that. I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.